Hello and welcome back to the Preppy podcast. Thank you all so much for listening today. Today I am chatting with the artist behind Pearly Gates, Carrie. I love her beautiful, preppy, feminine, grand millennial prints that she does. And she has so many great collaborations, and many of which are brands and businesses who have been on this podcast before. So I was really excited to talk with her because I think she is one of the queens of collaboration. So in this episode, we are going to talk all about collaborations, how she developed her type of art as an artist, and some dreams that she has for the business, and even some tips and advice for getting started. So I can't wait to share that episode with you. But before we get into that, just a few little housekeeping things. First being, make sure that you follow at the Preppy Podcast on social media, as I am headed to Camp Preppy in a little less than 2 weeks at this point, and we'll be sharing so much fun over there. I've had many requests to do more Camp Preppies, so I will be sure to share if we're going to be doing another one coming up soon as well. But you'll be able to see all the fun to see if you want to attend one in the future there, as well as I am starting to plan some events for the fall and holiday season, some more live panels and different little events throughout the country there. And lastly, I started a business book club with my friend Amy of Print Fresh. We love reading business books, so we thought, why not focus on a book club that primarily reads business books, as many of us are entrepreneurs and have our own business, or maybe you aspire to someday start your own business. It's a great book club. We are kicking it off this week actually with the Banana Republic book called Wild Company, and reading a new business book each month. So the following month for September, we will be reading the book by Elise Aarons, who is Frances Valentine and Kate Spade. She created it with Katie there. So lots of great business book reads. If you want to be part of that book club, it meets virtually once a month. Then just shoot me a DM or an email and I will add you to the list when we send information out for those. But now let's get into this week's episode. All right. So why don't you let everyone know who you are, where you live, and what you do?
So I am Carrie Hawkins, and I am the artist behind Pearly Gates Designs, and I create watercolor patterns, and you'll see them used on clothing, on wallpaper, on all kinds of home goods. And I live in Midland, Texas, which is West Texas, kind of out in the desert, with 2 girls and my husband and a dog.
I love that. And I have followed you for quite some time on social media. I just am drawn to your beautiful, feminine, like sort of grand millennial prints. And of course, with the touch of preppiness there as well. So I'm curious, what was your childhood like? Were you someone that was always interested in art, or, playing with watercolors at a young age, or maybe entrepreneurial? Tell me a little bit about you growing up.
Well, I can say that I never would have imagined that I'd be on this podcast. I'm feeling so grateful to be among all these names on your podcast and with you. But growing up, I did grow up out here in West Texas, and my mom was an artist. She was a painter, and then when I got into elementary school age, she became an art teacher, and she was my art teacher. So I always had this creative background, and she was so encouraging. I think I painted all my shoes, my high school jeans for football games. She would just encourage me to put whatever I wanted and dress however I wanted. And then my dad was also, he owned his own company. He was a geologist. And so it was fun to see him run his own company and get to work with people that he admired, and to see his passion come through in that.
I love that. It's funny. I feel like a good bit of artists or creative people that I interview on this podcast, their mom or grandmother or a grandfather, someone in their family was an artist and kind of, inspired them to be creative and, like you said, to paint anything that you saw and wanted to. So I think that's so wonderful. And then also, obviously, the business aspect with your dad is so great as well.
Yes, and I try to remember that with my kids, because so many times, they'll get out the paint and I'm like, "Don't get paint anywhere." And I'm trying to like, "Okay, my mom let me paint whatever I wanted and do whatever, dress however I wanted." I remember she said that I used to love florals, which you can probably tell I still do. And I wore every single floral print I had at the same time, like a blue floral legging with like a hot pink floral shirt. And that just, that has lived with me
Yeah.
apparently. And I feel like she fed that love.
Definitely. So I'm curious then, when it came time for college, where and what did you end up studying? Was it art, or did you, follow more in your dad's footsteps, or something like completely different?
Yeah. Okay. So I went to the University of Texas in Austin, and I did study, I went there for studio art. And really, I struggled with knowing how I was going to turn that into my future, like how I was going to make
Mhm.
money with art, which tons of amazing artists do it now. But for me, it was really hard for me to be inspired to just paint a piece, or just,
Mhm.
I did ceramics a lot, just make a piece and think someone was going to buy it. And so when I got to UT, I learned about the design program there. And it was a small group of kids, and you just apply, and they only take 12 a year, or at least then they did.
Wow.
And I loved the idea of that. And I was so lucky to get in because it focused a lot on useful art. So putting
Mhm.
design on things that we already use around us, or seeing the design of certain things. Like I remember once we designed the remote control, like how could you design the remote control to be more useful, but also be beautiful? Because as people, we want it to be stylish and appealing. And so I
Mhm.
think that really fed my love of art and usefulness. And even now, creating patterns for products is just feeds my soul, because they're products that are already out in the world, but they're beautiful and they tell a story. And I'm just so grateful for that program, because I think that's what led me here.
Definitely. I feel like that's so different, at least from everyone that I've talked to who went to art school. It seems like, it was a totally different focus. It almost sounds like yours was a little bit of art and creativity with a kind of product development as well, which is kind of with fashion, a little bit of what we studied. But I find that so interesting. I think that's so smart because it opens your mind up to things and makes you think completely different.
Yes, yeah, it was something I had no idea about till I got there.
No, 1,000%. So tell me then what you ended up doing with your degree. Like, what was the next step after you graduate? What did you end up doing?
So after I graduated, I decided I really did a big focus on graphic design. I do like computers, I'm a little techie. And so I went to work for a startup there, and I did UI design, so user interface design on your
Huh?
phones. And I helped design apps, which is so different from what I'm doing right now. But it was, I feel like it really led me here because it taught me how to start a business from the ground up.
Mhm.
I got to study under some really wonderful entrepreneurs. And so, how it got started was I was doing this user interface design, and I was on my computer all the time. And like if you look at an app on your phone and you see a little button or a little picture, someone drew that on their computer. So that's what I was
Ah.
doing. But I was on my computer all the time. And so my mom kind of encouraged me to start painting on the side or get a creative hobby.
Mm.
And so that's what I started doing. That was like my hobby from 5 till midnight after work. And at the time, a lot of my friends were getting married or even starting businesses. So I
Mhm.
started painting wedding invitations for them, or logo design. And I had a friend that just told me, just post this on Instagram, just start posting it. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. You don't want it to be your job. And I didn't even know what that looked like as a job at the time. So I started posting, and more people kept reaching out. And slowly I had enough clients to leave my job and do this full time.
Wow.
Which now I'm so grateful, because it is like I get to do everything I love now, because I
Mm.
get to paint things like wallpaper, and then I get to put it into my computer and recolor it and lay it out. So I get to do both worlds. I get to be techie and work with my hands.
I love that. Well, first of all, I think, that tech background is probably so useful. I feel like so much of what we do as entrepreneurs these days is on a computer, on an iPad, like on our phones, dealing with technology. So I'm sure you have, a foot up there compared to everyone else.
I always think so. And then, there's like always a new program like TikTok. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no idea how to work this. I thought I was techie, but I'll get there.
I definitely. Okay, so you started creating your own art and then you have, friends and family reach out for some pieces and it kind of grows through Instagram. Then at what point, once you have enough customers, you realize you can create a business out of this. What were sort of the steps to doing that from leaving your full-time job to starting your own business? Was it, creating a website, and what did that look like? How did you think about marketing? Tell me a little bit about those initial steps.
Yeah. So working in the tech world, one of my friends there, all of them have their own websites, which is funny, like because they're techie and everyone's building their own website. And so he told me, get an LLC and buy your URL. And so I did that first thing before I really had anything on there. I wish I could show you my first logo because it was hilarious. I need to post a picture of it because I think it was like literally like a pearly gate, like a drawing of a pearly gate.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Oh, and it's called Pearly Gates. I probably should say that because my maiden name is Gates and my great
Okay.
grandfather's nickname was Pearly. And
Oh,
so
I love
since I
that.
learned from my mom and my dad from owning a business, it's kind of an ode to my family. Even though
Oh,
I work alone, I have them behind me. So that's,
sweet.
yeah, not to get off track, but that is why it's called Pearly Gates Designs.
Okay. That's so sweet.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun. And okay, so back to where I was, how we got started. So I bought the URL, I bought the LLC, or I started the LLC. And then I really was probably working for like nothing. I was doing these invitations. I think I was just coming out even. And I
Mm.
had a lunch with a mother of the bride to go over the designs. And she told me, I wanted to meet with you to tell you that you need to double what you're charging, and which I'm so grateful for her, and I owe her
Yeah.
so much because she was an interior designer and I didn't know how much to charge for this kind
Mm.
of stuff. And she had me write down exactly how much I was spending and showed me exactly how
Wow.
to mark it up. And yeah, she like changed my business, and that's when I
Yeah.
decided like, I can actually make money from this and I can charge what I'm worth.
Definitely. I mean, how lucky that this woman shared that with you and, gave back in that sense to another female entrepreneur.
Yes, yes, I just think it's so hard as a female to charge what you are actually worth. I mean, part of me is just so grateful that someone wants my art on their products or their
Mhm.
invitations that I want to do it for free, right? Like it's so
Yeah.
exciting that you love it and I love doing it. And I think that's probably part of the problem of it being your passion. It's a blessing
Mm.
that you get to do what you love, but you love it so much that you don't charge enough.
Yep. And I feel like even beyond that too, like that's an issue. But then when you start a business, a lot of times, especially something more creative based or more service based, sometimes you don't know how much to start charging because you might not have the portfolio behind you yet, or the recommendation. So you generally do start a little bit lower and then build it up. But a lot of times we don't know how low's too low. I just had that conversation. Someone reached out to me who was going to do some social media and marketing stuff on the side. And she's in college or right after college. And I was like, honestly, I have not been in that position in so long now. I graduated, over 10 years ago at this point. So I'm like, I wish I could help you, but I don't even know what you should charge at that point because my business is so different than that these days. So I do think no matter what business you have, starting off, that's a big struggle, I think, with a lot of people.
For sure. I think I remember someone telling me if you're not being told no every once in a while, you're not charging enough. Like
That's a good
everyone's like,
tip.
"Oh, yeah, yeah," which is so
Yep.
hard to hear now, right? But
Yeah, totally. Okay, so you have the LLC, you have the products, your price list now. So then how did you kind of continue to grow and market? Like what's been a great form of marketing for you when you started, and then sort of what do you rely on these days?
right. Okay. So, well, 2020 was a big turning point for me because wedding invitations were kind of not as much. There wasn't as many weddings right then. And
Mm,
it kind of was a time, I'm sure, for all of us to kind of reflect on what we want to do.
yep.
And I wanted to create more art. And doing the wedding invitations, I was dealing with paper and shipping and all that kind of supplies. And I had seen the art on my children's clothing. I have two girls, and I love pattern and repeat. And you can see it on the art I created in high school. it has pattern over and over, and I just love the rhythm it makes. Like if you see a fast pattern, it's almost like music. Like you can hear that
Yeah.
fast music. Or if you see a flowy floral print, you can feel that, like French vibes, English cottage, And
Yeah.
so I think one day in 2020, which cold emailing is still a thing I do now, but I emailed probably 75 companies with my portfolio and telling them, hey, I think my art would look really good on your clothing. Let me know if you want me to send over ideas. Here's my portfolio. And I got like not very many replies at all. And I still get a lot of no's. So for anyone out there who's scared to email people, I mean, it's only a compliment to them. And if they don't
Sure.
respond, they're missing out on you.
Yeah.
Um, I did have one company reach out to me, and it was Smockingbird, Anna and
Yeah.
Parma Lee from Smockingbird Children's Clothing. Right after I emailed them, they called me and they were so kind. I owe them so much. And I had to be upfront with them and tell them, like, I know how to create patterns. I know how to like format them, but I have never done this. And they really took me under their wing and walked me through it. And we made some amazing things together, and I still work with them. And that was in 2020. So it's been like 6 years
Wow.
almost.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Something that I kind of see weaving through your story is not being scared to reach out and try things, but then also having a great amount of female entrepreneurs also supporting you and helping you give advice. And I think as we grow as our own businesses, it's so important for us to keep those sorts of things in mind to help the younger generation and to give little tidbits of advice or mentor someone when we can, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think you are the pinnacle of it. Like you
Oh,
are
you're so
recording these
sweet.
things, and like I have a cousin who wants to start her own thing, and she is listening to your podcast and podcasts
Oh,
like this every day, and it's so encouraging and inspiring. And like I can point people to you, and I guarantee you are helping someone grow something amazing.
you're so sweet. So I am thoroughly impressed by the amount of businesses that you've collaborated with and like such good businesses, so many that I've even had on this podcast. So I think you're this like queen of collaborating. So tell me a little bit about some more of these collaborations because we just heard about the one that sort of took the risk and started these collaborations for you. But I know, for example, you've done stuff with Wheezy, who I love Liz, and I've had her on the podcast a few times. You've had amazing collabs with the Mahjong too. Tell me a little bit about some of them. Maybe, I don't want to say your favorites because all of them, I'm sure your favorites, but just a few that come to mind and kind of how they came about.
Yeah. Okay. So I loved working with Wheezy, and they were really fun. And again, almost all of these are either getting connected through email or Instagram and kind of putting myself out there and saying, I think this would be really fun. I think our audiences would like this. And that's really how I like to work. If you look back at what I said earlier, that it's hard for me to just create something out of nothing to hang on your wall. I
Mm-hmm.
love collaborating and hearing what they think their clients would like and getting to see their mood boards and working together
Mm-hmm.
is super inspiring for me. Dillard's, I did work with Dillard's, Alexandra Dillard, and that was an amazing opportunity to see how they
Oh yeah.
work and to work with their designers. Um, I just feel like I work by myself, but I really don't because I get to work with all
Yeah.
these amazing entrepreneurs that I look up to every single day. And what else? I'm trying to think. Petite Keep was such a great one to work with.
Yeah.
Lindsay there, she was on Shark Tank, and she's so inspiring, and her whole team is so encouraging.
I love that. Such good brands. That's yeah. All I had Dillard's, I've had Wheezy, Petite Keep, and they are all such great women. Um, something that you mentioned in talking about collaborations, because I think a lot of people want advice on how to do collaborations and seeing all the great ones you've done. You have so much great advice on that. And I think what's important, and just because I work with a lot of brands, setting up collaborations with other brands too, and what I do is it has to be a true collaboration, like you said. Like you want to take elements of both brands and bring them together. Collaboration isn't just saying, oh, I want to put like my patterns on your dress or something. Like it has to be a blending of the two. Like and that's what I think a lot of times when people miss the mark with collaborations, it's because it's too just one brand almost, or like it's not a collaboration. It's just putting something on something else, right?
Right. Yeah, you're right on track because I did have at one time and I still do, I have a pattern portfolio I can send
Hmm.
to companies. But the ones that do really well and that I think I get really into are the ones where it's custom, where they
Hmm.
send over a mood board and we talk about what we're going to create. Um, Petite Keep, we just did Christmas last year, and that one was really fun because they showed me the ones they've done each Christmas and what they envisioned for this Christmas, and we had a lot of back and forth, and that just I think that the buyer can see how much love is put into that. And
Hmm.
I like to think when they work with an artist, they can see that we're trying to tell a story and that we're using
Yes.
all these different people that are good at what they do. Like Petite Keep can create these beautiful trunks and curate a great experience. And then they work with these artists that are so good at creating that experience in a visual way.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of another example too. But yeah, I have so much fun collaborating. And really, I just did a collaboration that was totally different from what I've done. It came out like last week, but I teamed up with this company called Venice Rose, and they create stadium bags. And for like football games, like they're clear bags that you can take into the stadium. But
Hmm.
instead of me putting my pattern on their bags, we decided just to launch our products at the same time. So I created silk scarves for different football teams um, in Texas, and they created these purses that coordinate with the football teams.
Oh, cool.
And we launched together, and it's been so fun because
Yes.
we didn't have to create a new product together, but
Yeah.
launching together, we get to encourage each other and show people how they work together and kind of mix our audiences. And I think the audiences really like seeing how you can style it and how these different brands can kind of collab on this.
I think that is such a creative idea there, and just shows that you can think outside the box and have a great collaboration. Bravo to that. So tell me a little bit about then your favorite and least favorite part about what you do. Like what it gets you up every morning, so excited to get back in the office and do it again, and then what are you like always pushing off, or you're like dreading doing it in terms of business?
Oh, gosh, okay. Well, definitely my favorite part is seeing my art out in the world.
Hmm.
Easter probably is one of my favorite holidays because I've done so many Easter dresses. So when I
Oh,
go to church or Easter brunch, I get to see these little girls, these precious little girls wearing my artwork. And that is, I mean, that feeds my soul so much. And it makes me so
yes.
grateful for what I do. It's just I love being a part of these celebrations and these photos and these memories. I just cannot put words to how meaningful it is to me. The worst part is probably like accounting. I'm sure everyone says
Yeah.
that. Accounting and I think marketing. I always like sharing pictures and what I'm working on, but I think trying to sell something is hard
Mm.
for most artists because you create it because you love doing it, but to try to encourage people to buy it, I just hope it comes over naturally and I don't need to say like you need more things. I
Yes.
think that's really
No, I hear that a lot. I think there's a fine line between being pushy and, you wanting it to be natural, the marketing versus forced. And I think you do a great job of that, but I totally, totally understand. So,
thank you. That means a lot.
of course. So going back to collaborations, what would be a dream collab for you? Maybe one you haven't done yet, but is on your bucket list.
Oh gosh, I was thinking about this. I really think that florals are having a moment, which I
Mhm.
love. And I was thinking Tuckernuck, I would love to work with them on a
Oh,
collaboration with several of their silhouettes in some of my florals. I think that would be a dream. And I think
yes.
seeing women, I think it's time women get these like special floral patterns that tell a story. And I think
Mhm.
Tuckernuck does such a good job of celebrating femininity and stories. And really, like, I love how well they go with seasons. Like, they
Uh,
celebrate the season. And
yes.
I think that would be fun to come across in a pattern.
Definitely. And I think they do a good job about keeping a certain price point, especially these days, so that, more people can enjoy the dresses.
For sure. And then probably, I mean, I wouldn't mind if Taylor Swift called me and was like, "I need something to wear with like some Easter eggs painted into it." And I would be totally fine with that.
Wait, that would be so good.
It's so true. Like, I hope I'm sure she listens to you, so maybe she'll call.
Totally.
I don't
Oh, that's so good. Where do you get inspiration from?
know. Definitely being outside, you can probably see in a lot of my patterns, but my kids are also very inspirational for me just because they see the magic in the ordinary. And that's something I really
Mm,
hope to bring across. Like we were talking about a trellis, like that is something that could just be in a garden, but if you put these flowers around it and you put the right rhythm in it, it's magical. It takes you somewhere.
yeah,
And so seeing my kids, playing outside or wanting I'm trying my one daughter loves bunnies, and trying to create a bunny that's not just a bunny, but it tells a
yeah,
story of sweetness and innocence and femininity. And I love storytelling too. So I think books I love to read, and that I was just about to post a reel, and in the
yeah.
background of every video, it has my audiobook playing in the background. And I think that you can tell, like, when I'm really into a story and I'm trying to come across taking the viewer there, I guess.
Yeah.
You can tell when I'm trying to take the viewer there.
Now, have you ever collaborated on a book, like a children's book or anything like that?
No, I haven't, but I would
That
love
I feel like would be so good then for you, especially with the storytelling.
that would be really fun. Yes, I do. I would love that.
um, what's a resource that you could share with listeners? Anything that, a group you're part of, or a great book, going back to books, if you read any like business books, or newsletter or a blog you read.
Yes, okay. I'm gonna go back to Wheezy. She has a Substack, and I'm just now getting in a Substack, and I love Liz's what she shares, what's inspiring her. I also think there's a Loeffler Randall one that's really good. I'm trying to remember what
Mm.
she called it. But I think that you went on Southern Sea, and I also was at Southern
Yep.
Sea in 2024. Was that when I was? That was just last year. 2024, I think.
Okay. Yep. I was there.
So, and that was fun to be inspired by. And really, my favorite group that's inspired me so much. Also have a line of I also have a line of needlepoint canvases through
Ooh,
a company called Kansas City Needlepoint.
yeah.
And every year, the last 2 years, and I hope they're gonna keep doing it, they bring all the artists into Kansas City, and we get to meet all of the people that are needlepointing our designs. And then the artists go to dinner and we get to know each other. And that has been such a gift. Those girls are so encouraging, and we're all doing the same thing, but we have such different styles. And to
Yep.
see other artists encouraging each other and sharing resources has been incredible. So I think I would say don't be afraid to connect with people that are doing
Mhm.
something similar. It's always nice to have a different style so you're not going after the same kind of things. But I would say putting together a small group of people that maybe talk once a month or quarterly is
Mhm.
so encouraging, and it helps you be excited to share what you're doing with them.
Yep. I think that's great. I love following along with when that group gets together, and does the needlepoint retreat, or I don't even know, what do you guys call it? A weekend
Yes, it's a
party, something
needlepoint
like that.
retreat.
Yes,
Like the
yes.
first
So
time I was like, "What is this?" Yeah, it's amazing, but it's such a funny thing. Like when I told my husband I was going on a needlepoint retreat, he was like, Do you even know how to needlepoint?" Which I do now. I do now.
they taught you at the retreat now.
Oh, they are like very good teachers. They're amazing.
I love that. I saw Kate, from Bobble Stocking. She went, and then Lemon Daisy Designs. So my friend, she also went, Leslie. So it
Yes,
looks like a
Leslie,
great
that we
time.
just met last year, and she's
Oh,
amazing.
cool.
I love her.
Yes, yes, she's so fun. I think that's such a great point though, is, finding people in your same industry because you can learn so much from each other. And instead of it being competition, lifting each other up and, you can even commiserate together and swap stories and inspire one another.
Yes, it's definitely encouraging.
Anything that you're working on right now, like any sneak peeks coming out or what are you, creating these days?
Well, yes, actually, you just mentioned Kate, and I just shared a sneak peek. Her name is Kate Stewart, and she owns Bauble Stockings, and I'm really excited. We just shared that I'm going to be a guest artist for them this year. We haven't shared the artwork or the designs, but if you haven't heard of Bauble Stockings, they create these mini needlepoint stockings,
Mhm.
and they have a few guest artists, and each guest artist gets to pick where 10% of the proceeds go. And so this year I picked a small children's clinic in Midland, where I'm from,
Oh.
and so that they provide healthcare to kids who can't afford it. And so I think it's just going to be an incredible experience because any dollar amount to them is amazing. And also for me to get to work for Bauble Stockings, which is an amazing company, and Kate is just the queen and an angel, and I love her.
Mhm.
And getting to work with her has been an incredible opportunity.
She's so fabulous, and listeners can go back and listen to her episode too. I think that might have been the first year the podcast came out. It's been a while, but her episode is so good. So
So I
now,
would
since
definitely, I'm going to go.
yeah, you need to go back and listen to that. So since this is the Preppy podcast, I'm going to ask you, but what does Preppy mean to you?
Oh, okay. Well, I think preppy to me means, of course, timeless charm, but with like a little whimsical personality, something
Mm.
that shows your personality. It's polished, but it has a little something special, something magical in it. Um, so, for example, I already use. For example, I did a floral pattern for Dillard's, and it had a bunch of little flowers everywhere, and it created kind of this Liberty print look. But if you look closer, there's like a little bunny peeking through. And
Cute.
so from far away, it looks like this beautiful floral pattern that's
Mm.
very preppy and pretty. But as you get closer, you see this little bunny peeking through. And I feel like that's like the little whimsy in there. It's something that
Yes.
is exciting to you and it's special.
Yeah. And it's all in the details, I feel like, right? Those little
Yes,
thoughtful
yes,
details. Yeah.
exactly.
1,000%. So can you tell me a little bit about the patterns that we see behind you right now? Like, are they from any collaborations or coming out, or can you walk us through some of them maybe?
Yes, so these are all patterns from a collection I have with Supply in Austin, Supply Showroom, and they're all wallpapers,
Wow.
which that is like so exciting to me to see wallpapers in people's houses because I think they're going to be there a long time.
Yes.
And yeah, so I actually just moved and I'm really sitting in the corner of my living room because I have stuff everywhere. And so we're picking out wallpaper right now. And I
It's
actually think
so
I'm going to do this one in my office.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, this backdrop is gorgeous. They're all so
Thank
pretty.
you. It's been really fun. And again, like seeing the rhythm, like you can create a whole
Mhm.
room that feels exciting, and or you can create a relaxing, chill room
Yep.
just with how the patterns move and how big the scale is. It's been
Yeah.
really fun.
No, that's so amazing. Those are all so, so pretty. I want to like wallpaper every room in here.
Yes,
So
I think
my
you should.
final
You
question,
should.
yeah, my final question is where can people find you? Let them know your Instagram, your website, anywhere else you want them to check out and follow along and support you.
You can find me on Instagram at Pearly Gates Designs and on my website at www.pearlygatesdesigns.com. And please, if there's anyone who has any questions or is trying to start something new, always feel free to DM me. I'm always happy to help where I can.
Excellent. Well, Carrie, I really enjoyed chatting with you this afternoon. So thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you. It's been so fun. I loved getting to meet you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Preppy Podcast. I hope this put a little prep in your step for the day. Please subscribe, rate, and review on wherever you listen to your podcast, and follow along with @the Preppy Podcast on social media.